Welcome to DMV Pass. If you are new to this channel, feel free to subscribe now and activate notifications so you don't miss our future post. You need to hear this if you're prepping for your CDL written test. Today, we're diving into the CDL practice test for airbrake. This video offers a detailed walkthrough of essential questions and answers that will help you master the CDL written test. No need to stress. We've got you covered with easy to understand explanations. Ready to crush this test? Let's go. 1. When is it okay to leave your truck unattended without applying the parking brakes and choking the wheels? A. Never. B. If you are only away for a few minutes. C. If you are conducting a pre-trip inspection.
Note: as mentioned in the Section 5 of the CDL manual, never leave your vehicle unattended without applying the parking brakes or choking the wheels. Your vehicle might roll away and cause injury and damage.
So, the correct answer is A. Never. Next question. 2. The stoplight switch. A. Tells you when the airbrake system is low on air pressure. B. Tells you when you need to use your emergency brakes. C. Turns your brake lights on to warn drivers behind you.
Note: here's what the CDL manual in its Section 5 says regarding the stop light switch. Drivers behind you must be warned when you put your brakes on. The air brake system does this with an electric switch that works by air pressure. The switch turns on the brake lights when you put on the air brakes.
So, the correct answer is C. Turns your brake lights on to warn drivers behind you. Next question. 3. It is not safe to drive a vehicle that has brake drums with cracks that are longer than blank friction area. A. 1/2. B. 1/4. C. 1/8.
Note: here is what the CDL manual in its airbrake section says regarding brake drums, or discs. Brake drums must not have cracks longer than 1/2 the width of the friction area.
So, the correct answer is A. 1/2. Next question. 4. To test air service brakes you should A. Stop the vehicle, brake in a low gear, depress the service brakes, and then gently pull against the brakes. B. Brake firmly while slowly moving forward. C. Brake slowly while slowly moving backward.
Note: whether they ask you how to test air service brake, or service brake stopping action, or just service brake, it's all the same. In Section 2 of the CDL manual it says, go about 5 miles per hour, push brake pedal firmly. Pulling to one side or the other can mean brake trouble. Any unusual brake pedal feel or delayed stopping action can mean trouble.
So, the correct answer is B. Brake firmly while slowly moving forward. Next question. 5. A slack adjuster's free play needs to be adjusted if it is more than about blank. How many inches when you pull hard on it? A. 1/4 inch. B. 1/2 inch. C. 1 inch.
Note: in Section 5 of the CDL manual we can read, if a slack adjuster moves more than about 1 inch where the push rod attaches to it, it probably needs adjustment. Vehicles with too much brake slack can be very hard to stop. Out-of-adjustment brakes are the most common problems found in roadside inspections.
So, the correct answer is C. 1 inch. Next question. 6. If air pressure is not built up within the correct amount of time, then A. You should be ready to use your parking brakes to stop. B. The alcohol container may be low. C. Your air pressure may drop to a low point while driving, requiring an emergency stop.
Note: the CDL manual in its Section 5 says, if air pressure does not build up fast enough, your pressure may drop too low during driving, requiring an emergency stop. Don't drive until you get the problem fixed.
So, the correct answer is C. Your air pressure may drop to a low point while driving, requiring an emergency stop. Next question. 7. The safety valve reduces pressure at blank psi. A. 150. B. 100. C. 50.
Note: a safety relief valve is installed in the first tank the air compressor pumps air to. It protects the tank and the rest of the system from getting too much pressure. The valve is usually set to open or discharge at 150 psi. If the safety valve releases air, something is wrong.
So, the correct answer is A. 150. Next question. 8. Why should you drain water from compressed air tanks? A. Water low boiling point reduces braking power. B. Water can freeze in cold weather and cause brake failure. C. Water cools the compressor too much.
Note: compressed air usually has some water and some compressor oil in it, which is bad for the air brake system. The water can freeze in cold weather and cause brake failure. Make sure that you drain the air tanks completely through the drain valve in the bottom.
So, the correct answer is B. Water can freeze in cold weather and cause brake failure. Next question. 9. If your vehicle has an alcohol evaporator, every day during cold weather you should A. Check and fill the alcohol level. B. Change the alcohol from a new bottle. C. Check the oil for alcohol content.
Note: some air brake systems have an alcohol evaporator to put alcohol into the air system to help reduce the risk of ice in air brake valves and other parts during cold weather. Ice can make the brakes stop working. So check the alcohol container and fill up as necessary every day during cold weather.
So, the correct answer is A. Check and fill the alcohol level. Next question. 10. The driver must be able to see a low air pressure warning which comes on before the air pressure in the air brake system falls below blank psi. A. 50. B. 60. C. 80.
Note: vehicles with air brakes usually have low air pressure warning signals that come on before the air pressure in the tanks falls below 55 to 60 psi. The warning is usually a red light. A buzzer may also come on. If the low air pressure warning comes on, stop and safely park your vehicle right away. There might be an air leak in the system.
So, the correct answer is B. 60. Next question. 11. The air loss rate for a straight truck or bus with the engine off and the brakes on should not be more than A. 1 psi in 30 seconds. B. 2 psi in 45 seconds. C. 3 psi in 1 minute.
Note: with the air pressure built up to governor cutoff, 120 to 140 psi, shut off the engine, chock your wheels, if necessary, release the parking brake, fully apply and hold the foot brake for 1 minute, check the air gauge. If the air pressure falls more than 3 psi in 1 minute for single vehicles like straight trucks or buses, the air loss rate is too much.
So, the correct answer is C. 3 psi in 1 minute. Next question. 12. In ideal conditions, a truck or bus with an air brake going at 55 miles per hour would require stopping distance of how many feet? A. Less than 100 feet. B. More than 300 feet. C. From 100 to 300 feet.
Note: here is what the CDL manual in its section 5 says regarding total stopping distance. In ideal conditions with everything considered, including perception distance, 142 feet, reaction distance, 61 feet, and braking distance, 216 feet, at 55 miles per hour. Your vehicle will travel a minimum of 419 feet until you can bring your vehicle to a complete stop.
So, the correct answer is B. More than 300 feet. Next question. 13. If your truck has a properly functioning dual air brake system and minimum size air tanks, the air pressure should build up from 85 to 100 psi within how many seconds? A. 60. B. 30. C. 45.
Note: Here's what the CDL manual in its section 5 says about checking the rate of air pressure buildup. When the engine is at operating RPMs, the pressure should build from 85 to 100 psi within 45 seconds in dual air systems.
So, the correct answer is C, 45. Next question. 14. How should you check that your service brakes are working properly? A. Park on level ground, wait until normal air pressure is reached, release the parking brake and move forward slowly at about 5 miles per hour, then apply the brakes firmly using the brake pedal. B. Park on a level ground, chock the wheels, engage the parking brakes when you have the correct amount of air pressure to do so and shut the engine off. C. Park on slight grade, drain off air pressure, set parking brake and check to the movement.
Note: as we said in number 4 regarding service brake test, always on level ground, you would go about 5 miles per hour. Push brake pedal firmly. Pulling to one side or the other can mean brake problem. Any unusual brake pedal feel or delayed stopping action can mean problem.
So, the correct answer is A. Park on level ground, wait until normal air pressure is reached, release the parking brake and move forward slowly at about 5 miles per hour, then apply the brakes firmly using the brake pedal. Next question. 15. A straight truck or bus air brake system should not leak at the rate of more than blank psi per minute with the engine off and the brakes released. A. 1. B. 2. C. 3.
Note: to test air leakage rate, with a fully charged air system, typically 125 psi, turn off the engine, release or push in the parking brake, and time the air pressure drop. The loss rate should be less than 2 psi in 1 minute for single vehicles, including straight trucks and buses.
So, the correct answer is B. 2. Next question. 16. Excessive use of the service brakes results in overheating, which can lead to A. Proper adjustment of S-cam. B. Increase contact between the brake drums and linings. C. Expansion of the brake drums.
Note: excessive use of the service brakes results in overheating and leads to brake fade. Brake fade results from excessive heat causing chemical changes in the brake lining, which reduce friction, and also causing expansion of the brake drums.
So, the correct answer is C. Expansion of the brake drums. Next question. 17. The safety valve is set automatically when pressure is A. 50. B. 100. C. 150.
Note: this question relates to number 7. The safety valve protects the tank and the rest of the air brake system from getting too much pressure. The valve is set automatically at 150 psi. If the safety valve releases air, something is wrong.
So, the correct answer is C. 150. Next question. 18. If you must make an emergency stop, you should brake so you A. Use the handbrake before the brake pedal. B. Can steer and so your vehicle stays in a straight line. C. Use the full power of the brakes to lock them.
Note: if somebody suddenly pulls out in front of you, your natural response is to hit the brakes if there is enough distance to stop, but you should brake in a way that will keep your vehicle in a straight line and allow you to turn if it becomes necessary.
So, the correct answer is B. Can steer and so your vehicle stays in a straight line. Next question. 19. Your truck or bus has a dual air brake system. If a low air pressure warning comes on for only one system, what should you do? A. Reduce your speed and drive to the nearest garage for repairs. B. Reduce your speed and test the remaining system while underway. C. Stop right away and safely park. Continue only after the system is fixed.
Note: as we mentioned for question number 10, if the low air pressure warning comes on, stop and safely park your vehicle right away. there might be an air leak in the airbrake system, and it must be fixed before you resume driving.
So, the correct answer is C. Stop right away and safely park. Continue only after the system is fixed. Next question. 20. The brake pedal in an airbrake system. A. Controls the speed of the air compressor. B. Controls the air pressure applied to put on the brakes. C. Is connected to slack adjusters by a series of rods and linkages.
Note: the basic principle behind airbrakes is simple. When a driver presses the brake pedal, compressed air flows through the system, applying pressure to the brake mechanism and causing the brakes to engage. Releasing the pedal releases the air pressure, allowing the brakes to disengage.
So, the correct answer is B. Controls the air pressure applied to put on the brakes. Next question. 21. All airbrake equipped vehicles have A. A supply pressure gauge. B. An air usage gauge. C. A backup hydraulic system.
Note: reading in Section 5 of the CDL manual, all vehicles with air brakes have a pressure gauge connected to the air tank. If the vehicle has a dual air brake system, there will be a gauge for each half of the system, or a single gauge with 2 needles.
So, the correct answer is A. Supply pressure gauge. Next question. 22. With airbrake vehicles, the parking brakes should be used. A. Whenever you leave the vehicle unattended. B. As little as possible. C. Only during pre- and post-trip inspections.
Note: as stated in Section 5 of the CDL manual, you should never leave your vehicle unattended without applying the parking brakes or chocking the wheels, or your vehicle might roll away and cause injury and damage.
So, the correct answer is A. Whenever you leave the vehicle unattended. Next question. 23. To check the free play of manual slack adjusters of S-cam brakes, you should park on A. Level ground, chock the wheels and release the parking brakes. B. Level ground and apply the parking brakes, then apply service brakes. C. Level ground and drain off air pressure before checking the adjustment.
Note: when checking slack adjusters on S-cam brakes, park on level ground and chock the wheels to prevent the vehicle from moving. Release the parking brakes so you can move the slack adjusters, as stated in Section 5 of the CDL manual.
So, the correct answer is A. Level ground, chock the wheels and release the parking brakes. Next question. 24. The use of brakes on a long and steep downgrade under normal conditions is only a supplement to A. Use of spring brakes. B. The use of the front brakes limiting valve. C. The braking effect of the engine.
Remember, the use of brakes on a long and or steep downgrade is only a supplement to the braking effect of the engine, as stated in Section 5 of the CDL manual, referring to the use of proper braking techniques.
So, the correct answer is C. The braking effect of the engine. Next question. 25. The first or most important thing to do when a low air pressure warning comes on is A. Upshift. B. Downshift. C. Stop and safely park as soon as possible.
Note: the first and most important thing you need to do if the low air pressure warning comes on is to stop and safely park your vehicle as soon as possible, because there might be an air leak in the system and you don't want to take any risk driving without first fixing the problem.
So, the correct answer is C. Stop and safely park as soon as possible. Next question. 26. The parking or emergency brake on a heavy vehicle can only be held in position by something that cannot leak away, like A. Spring pressure. B. Air pressure. C. Hydraulic pressure.
Note: here's what the CDL manual in its Section 5 says about heavy vehicles. All trucks, truck tractors, and buses must be equipped with emergency brakes and parking brakes. They must be held on by mechanical force. Because air pressure can eventually leak away. Spring brakes are usually used to meet these needs.
So, the correct answer is A. Spring pressure. Next question. 27. Repeatedly partially pressing and releasing the brake pedal may result in A. A loss of brake air pressure. B. A buildup of brake air pressure. C. No change of brake air pressure.
Note: pressing and releasing the brake pedal too often can cause the brakes to lose air pressure faster than the compressor can replace it, and if the air pressure gets too low, the brakes will not work. But fanning off the air pressure by rapidly applying and releasing the foot brake is something that you may have to do sometimes to check air brakes.
So, the correct answer is A. A loss of brake air pressure. Next question. 28. The brake system that applies and releases the brakes when the driver uses the brake pedal is the blank brake system. A. Emergency. B. Service. C. Parking.
Note: air brakes consist in 3 different braking systems that include service brake, parking brake, and emergency brake. During normal driving, the service brake system applies and releases the brakes when you use the brake pedal.
So, the correct answer is B. Service. Next question. 29. An air brake system is fully charged at how much pressure? A. 75 psi. B. 100 psi. C. 125 psi.
Note: the CDL manual refers to the air brake system being fully charged when it reaches around 125 pounds per square inch or psi, which is considered to be the cutout level for the governor that controls when the air compressor will pump air into the air storage tanks.
So, the correct answer is C. 125 psi. Next question. 30. If the spring brakes are on, when should you push the brake pedal? A. Only when driving downhill. C. Only on the slippery road. C. Never.
Note: the CDL manual in its section 5 warns you to never push the brake pedal down when the spring brakes are on. If you do, the brakes could be damaged by the combined forces of the springs and the air pressure. It is much better to develop the habit of not pushing the brake pedal down when the spring brakes are on.
So, the correct answer is C. Never. Next question. 31. When brakes are applied, the brake shoes will align to press against the A. Brake drum or disc. B. Slack adjuster. C. S-cam.
Note: as we can read in section 5 of the CDL manual, brakes are designed so brake shoes or pads rub against the brake drum or discs to slow the vehicle. Braking creates heat, but brakes are designed to take a lot of heat. However, brakes can fade or fail from excessive heat caused by using them too much and not relying on the engine braking effect.
So, the correct answer is A. Brake drum or disc. Next question. 32. Emergency stab braking is A. When you press hard on a brake pedal and apply hand valve while you stop. B. Use light steady pressure on the brake pedal. C. Press on the brake pedal as hard as you can. Release the brakes when the wheels locked. Put on the brakes again when the wheels start rolling.
Note: stab braking is a braking method that consists in applying your brakes all the way and releasing brakes when wheels lock up. As soon as the wheels start rolling, about 1 second, you apply the brakes fully again. If you reapply the brakes before the wheels start rolling, the vehicle won't straighten out.
So, the correct answer is C. Press on the brake pedal as hard as you can. Release the brakes when the wheels locked. Put on the brakes again when the wheels start rolling. Next question. 33. A modern air brake system combines 3 different systems. They are the service, the parking, and the blank brakes. A. Emergency. B. Foot. C. Drum.
Note: as mentioned at number 28, Air brakes consist in 3 different braking systems that include service brake, parking brake, and emergency brake.
So, the correct answer is A. Emergency. Next question. 34. If you do not have automatic tank drains, how often should you drain the oil and water from the bottom of compressed air storage tanks? A. After every 4 hours of service. B. At the end of each day of driving. C. Once a week.
Note: remember at number 8, we talked about draining water from compressed air tanks because water can freeze in cold weather and cause brake failure. If your tanks do not automatically expel water and oil, you must drain the tanks yourself at the end of each day of driving.
So, the correct answer is B. At the end of each day of driving. Next question. 35. The proper use of the brakes when going down a long steep grade after selecting a proper gear is to brake until your speed is about blank miles per hour below the posted speed for your safety and release your brake. A. 5 miles per hour. B. 15 miles per hour. C. 10 miles per hour.
Note: when going down a long steep grade, you need to slow down and select the proper gear, shift down to a speed that you can control without using the brakes hard. When your speed has been reduced to approximately 5 miles per hour below your safe speed, release the brakes, and when your speed has increased to your safe speed, apply the brakes again as before.
So, the correct answer is A. 5 miles per hour. Next question. 36. The air brake lag distance at 55 miles per hour on dry pavement adds about A. 12 feet. B. 32 feet. C. 52 feet.
With everything considered, including perception distance, 142 feet, reaction distance, 61 feet, and braking distance, 216 feet, until you can bring your vehicle to a complete stop. At 55 miles per hour, your vehicle will travel a minimum of 419 feet. Now, for vehicles with air brakes, there is an added delay called brake lag. The air brake lag distance at 55 miles per hour on dry pavement adds about 32 feet, bringing the total stopping distance to 451 feet.
So, the correct answer is B. 32 feet. Next question. 37. The application pressure gauge shows how much air pressure you A. have in the air tanks. B. are applying to the brakes. C. have in a modulating control valve.
Note: let's see what the CDL manual says regarding application pressure gauge. This gauge shows how much air pressure you are applying to the brakes. This gauge is not found on all vehicles.
So, the correct answer is B. are applying to the brakes. Next question. 38. The spring brakes used on the chambers in a straight truck will bring you to a stop when air pressure drops below blank psi. A. 20. B. 60. C. 100.
Note: when you push the brake pedal, air is let into each brake chamber. Tractor and straight truck spring brakes will come on when air pressure drops into the pressure range specified by the manufacturer, usually within the range of 20 to 30 psi, or 20 to 45 psi.
So, the correct answer is A. 20. Next question. 39. Some air brake systems have an alcohol evaporator. What may happen if you don't keep the proper level of an alcohol? A. The S-cam may not take back when you release the brake pedal. B. Ice may form in the air storage tank and cause a brake failure. C. Ice may form on the brake drums and wear them out.
Note: some air brake systems have an alcohol evaporator to put alcohol into the air system. This helps reduce the risk of ice in air brake valves and other parts during cold weather. Ice inside the system can make the brakes stop working.
So, the correct answer is B. Ice may form in the air storage tank and cause a brake failure. Next question. 40. The braking power of the spring brakes. A. Is not affected by the condition of the service brakes. B. Depends on the service brakes being in adjustment. C. Increases when the service brakes are hot.
Note: as we can read in Section 5 of the CDL manual, the braking power of spring brakes depends on the brakes being in adjustment. If the brakes are not adjusted properly, neither the regular brakes nor the emergency or parking brakes will work right.
So, the correct answer is B. Depends on the service brakes being in adjustment. Next question. 41. Which of these is not a proper time to apply the parking brakes? A. To brake vehicle very hard, in other words when coming down the steep grade. B. To use parking brakes if you park for less than 1 hour. C. If you are going to use the parking brakes you need to make sure that they will hold the vehicle.
Note: according to the CDL manual, the parking brake control knob is used to park, while the service brake is used to slow down and stop. Don't use the parking brake for hard braking effect. Don't use the parking brake if the brakes are very hot, coming down a steep grade, or if the brakes are very wet in freezing temperatures.
So, the correct answer is A. To brake vehicle very hard, in other words when coming down the steep grade. Next question. 42. If your truck or bus has dual parking control valves, you can use pressure from a separate tank to A. Balance the service brake system when you are parked. B. Stay parked twice as long without using up service air pressure. C. Release the spring emergency or parking brakes to move a short distance.
Note: let's see what the CDL manual has to say regarding dual parking control valves. When main air pressure is lost, the spring brakes come on. Some vehicles, such as buses, have a separate air tank which can be used to release the spring brakes. This is so you can move the vehicle in an emergency.
So, the correct answer is C. Release the spring emergency or parking brakes to move a short distance. Next question. 43. The most common type of foundation brake found on heavy vehicles is the A. Wedge drum, B. S-cam drum, C. Disc.
Note: the CDL manual in its Section 5 states that the most common type of foundation brake is the S-cam drum brake. It is a type of brake system commonly used on heavy vehicles like trucks and trailers, where a rotating S-shaped cam mechanism pushes brake shoes against a drum to create friction and slow down the wheels.
So, the correct answer is B. S-cam drum. Next question. 44. If you are driving down a steep downgrade and you have reached the speed of 40 miles per hour, you would apply the service brake until your speed dropped to below blank miles per hour. A. 25. B. 30. C. 35.
Note: as mentioned at number 35, when going down a long steep grade, you need to reduce your speed to approximately 5 miles per hour below your safe speed. For example, if your safe speed is 40 miles per hour, only apply the brakes hard enough to gradually reduce your speed to 35 miles per hour and then release the brakes. Once your speed reaches 40 miles per hour, apply the brakes again as before.
So, the correct answer is C. 35. Next question. 45. With airbrake vehicles, the parking brakes should be used. A. As little as possible. B. Any time when vehicle is parked. C. To hold your speed when going downhill.
Note: as mentioned at the beginning of this video, never leave your vehicle unattended without applying the parking brakes or chalking the wheels. In other words, you must use parking brakes every time you park, otherwise, your vehicle might roll away and cause injury and damages.
So, the correct answer is B. Any time when vehicle is parked. Next question. 46. Excessive heat caused by using your brakes too often can also cause A. Modulated control valve to wear out. B. Brake linings to split up. C. Brake to fade or fail.
Note: braking creates heat, and brakes are designed to take a lot of heat. However, brakes can fade or fail from excessive heat caused by using them too much and not relying on the engine braking effect.
So, the correct answer is C. Brake to fade or fail. Next question. 47. What will happen if your truck has a dual air brake system and one of the systems is low on pressure? A. Brake drums will not be fully pressurized. B. The manual slack adjusters of the S-cam brakes will not be set properly. C. Either the front or back brake will not be fully operational.
Note:
before driving a vehicle with a dual air brake system, allow time for the air compressor to build up a minimum of 100 psi pressure in both primary and secondary systems. If one air system is very low on pressure, either the front or the rear brakes will not be operating fully. It will take you longer to stop. You need to bring the vehicle to a safe stop and have the air brake system fixed. So, the correct answer is C. Either the front or back brake will not be fully operational. Next question. 48. The supply pressure gauge shows how much pressure A. is in the air tanks. B. you have used in this trip. C. is going to the brake chamber.
Note: all vehicles with air brakes have a supply pressure gauge connected to the air tank. If the vehicle has a dual air brake system, there will be a gauge for each half of the system, or a single gauge with two needles. These gauges tell you how much pressure is in the air tanks.
So, the correct answer is A. is in the air tanks. Next question. 49. The air compressor governor controls A. the speed of the air compressor. B. air pressure applied to the brakes. C. when air is pumped into the air tanks.
Note: according to the Section 5 of the CDL manual, the governor controls when the air compressor will pump air into the air storage tanks. At cutout level, around 125 psi, the governor stops the compressor from pumping air. When the tank pressure falls to cut-in level, around 100 psi, the governor allows the compressor to start pumping again.
So, the correct answer is C. when air is pumped into the air tanks. Next question. 50. Parking or emergency brakes of trucks and buses can be legally held on by blank pressure. A. spring. B. air. C. fluid.
Note: as mentioned at number 26, all trucks, truck tractors, and buses must be equipped with emergency brakes and parking brakes held on by mechanical force, because air pressure can eventually leak away. Spring brakes or spring pressure usually can meet these needs.
So, the correct answer is A. spring. Next question. 51. The S-cam A. controls the flow air to each of the brake chambers. B. pulls the brake shoes away from the drum and allow the wheels to roll freely. C. forces the brake shoes against the inside of the brake drum.
Note: pushing the brake pedal lets air into each brake chamber, causing a series of movements turning the S-cam, so called because it is shaped like the letter S. The S-cam forces the brake shoes away from one another and presses them against the inside of the brake drum.
So, the correct answer is C. forces the brake shoes against the inside of the brake drum. Next question. 52. Under normal conditions, in order to engage the parking brakes, the driver will A. turn off the engine. B. let the air out of air brake system. C. be sure air brake system is fully pressurized.
Note: you will use the parking brakes when you park. In the cab, a parking brake control, a yellow, diamond-shaped knob labeled parking brakes on newer vehicles, allows the driver to let the air out of the spring brakes. This lets the springs engage or put the brakes on.
So, the correct answer is B. let the air out of air brake system. Next question. 53. Total stopping distance for air brakes is longer than that for hydraulic brakes due to blank distance. A. Brake lag. B. Reaction. C. Effective braking.
Note: stopping distance is how much space you need to stop your vehicle, calculated as follows. Perception distance, reaction distance, braking distance on vehicles without air brakes. For air brake equipped vehicles, there is an added delay called brake lag distance.
So, the correct answer is A. Brake lag. Next question. 54. During normal driving, spring brakes are usually held back by A. Bolts or clamps. B. Air pressure. C. Spring pressure.
Note: when driving, powerful springs are held back by air pressure. If the air pressure is removed, the springs put on the brakes.
So, the correct answer is B. Air pressure. Next question. 55. Air braking takes more time than hydraulic braking because A. Air brakes use different brake drums. B. Takes more time to flow through the lines than hydraulic fluid. C. Brakes require heavier return springs.
Note: with hydraulic brakes, used on cars and light or medium trucks, the brakes work instantly. However, with air brakes, it takes a little time, 1/2 second or more, for the air to flow through the lines to the brakes.
So, the correct answer is B. Takes more time to flow through the lines than hydraulic fluid. Next question. 56. Your brakes are fading when A. You have to push harder on a brake pedal to control your speed on a downgrade. B. Less pressure is needed on the brake pedal for each stop. C. The brake pedal feels spongy when you apply pressure.
Note: if you apply the brake pedal and your vehicle doesn't slow down as quickly as expected, requiring you to push harder on the brake pedal, your brakes may be fading. The most common cause for brake fade is from overheating due to friction on the brake pads.
So, the correct answer is A. You have to push harder on a brake pedal to control your speed on a downgrade. Next question. 57. If your vehicle has an alcohol evaporator, it is there to A. Eliminate the need for daily tank draining. B. Boost tank pressure the same way that turbochargers boost engine. C. Reduce the risk of icing in air brake valves in cold weather.
Note: as mentioned in the Section 5 of the CDL manual, some air brake systems have an alcohol evaporator to put alcohol into the air system. This helps to reduce the risk of ice in air brake valves and other parts during cold weather. Ice inside the system can make the brakes stop working.
So, the correct answer is C. Reduce the risk of icing in air brake valves in cold weather. Next question. 58. On long downhill grades, experts recommend using a low gear and light pedal pressure instead of on-again, off-again braking. Why? A. Air usage is less with light steady pressure. B. Brake linings do not heat up as much with light pressure. C. You can keep vehicle speed constant in a low gear with light, steady pressure.
Note: on long downhill grades, trucks tend to pick up speed and spark the need to use brakes. An excessive use of the service brakes may result in overheating and brake fade. Now, on-again, off-again braking, also called stab braking, a braking technique involving pushing hard on the brakes and locking the wheels, is not a good option when going down a hill. That's why experts recommend using controlled braking, engine brake or low gear and light pedal pressure.
So, the correct answer is B. Brake linings do not heat up as much with light pressure. Next question. 59. To make an emergency stop with air brakes, using the stab braking method, you should A. Pump the brake pedal rapidly and lightly. B. Press on the brake pedal as hard as you can. Release the brakes when the wheels lock, and when the wheels start rolling, put on the brakes fully again. C. Brake hard until the wheels lock, then get off the brakes for as much time as the wheels were locked.
Note: in the Section 2 of the CDL manual, stab braking is outlined as one of the braking techniques for stopping quickly and safely to avoid a crash. With this method, you apply your brakes all the way and release them when wheels lock up. As soon as the wheels start rolling, you apply the brakes fully again.
So, the correct answer is B. Press on the brake pedal as hard as you can, release the brakes when the wheels lock, and when the wheels start rolling, put on the brakes fully again. Next question. 60. To test air service brakes, you should brake firmly when moving slowly forward. The brakes are okay if you notice A. A delayed stopping action. B. An unusual feel. C. The vehicle pulls to one side. D. None of the above.
Note: remember, for question number 14, we said you would go about 5 miles per hour and push the brake pedal firmly to test service brakes, and pulling to one side or the other can mean brake problem. Any unusual brake pedal feel or delayed stopping action can mean problem.
So, the correct answer is D. None of the above. Thanks for watching until the end. Are you willing to support this channel with a one-time contribution? We would be forever grateful if you do so. Our mission at DMB Pass is to create a better learning tool for prospective drivers preparing for their permit test. That's why many users choose to contribute to our efforts. If you believe in what we do and want to help us on our journey, you can do so using any of these methods on the screen. Together, we can make the learning process as easy as possible for everyone. Thank you already for your support.